A whitetail buck can detect human scent from 3 football fields. He does not hesitate, he turns. He vanishes before you see him. And the one thing that gives away your exact location is the wind. Most modern hunters cannot read wind. They guess. They lose deer. But there is one quiet trick that costs $1 and never fails. Old whitetail hunters carried it in a small pouch every cold dawn. It reveals every shift of the air before deer ever notice you. Modern brands replaced it with $30 electronic gadgets. The simple version still works better than every expensive option, and the outdoor industry deliberately buried it for one reason. This is the forgotten story of plain $1 chalk powder. Welcome to Lost Hunter. If buried hunting knowledge matters to you, hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss a single old method. This is where forgotten woodsman fieldcraft comes back to life now. The year was 1902 in the cold ridges of West Virginia. A whitetail tracker named Eli Burns carried 2 things to the woods: a long iron rifle and a small leather pouch full of fine chalk. He never moved one single step before testing the air with that pouch. He squeezed it gently and watched the white cloud drift through air. The drift told him exactly where the wind would carry his own scent. If the cloud crossed toward a deer trail, he refused to ever move. If it drifted away from the bedding ridge, he closed the distance. Eli Burns harvested over 40 whitetail bucks across 30 seasons. He never once owned a wind detector or any factory-built air device. Older mountain hunters across Appalachia used the exact same trick. They used talc, lime dust, fine ashes, or ground white chalk powder. Some carried plant fluff from milkweed pods inside small pouches. The principle was always the same. Watch the air. Read the drift. By the 1940s, this method spread through hunting clubs. Trappers, scouts, and old market hunters all carried chalk pouches. They tracked moisture, slope drift, and thermal pulls before dawn. Wind drift told them when bucks would move along the timber edges. They could place themselves downwind of any whitetail travel corridor. They harvested deer that modern hunters now spend years chasing. This video is only the surface of what was deliberately erased. I gathered every buried hunting method modern outdoor culture forgot. All of it sits inside the forbidden hunter's vault for you to own. Ghost scent methods that make whitetail bucks miss your entire trail. Silent stalking mechanics old hunters used without making any sound. Wind reading patterns most modern hunters never learn or apply today. Hidden funnel logic that turns any patch of timber into a highway. Cold weather camp tricks that keep hunters out in the woods longer. 8 powerful modules together inside one vault. No fluff at all. The link is in the description below this video. Open it right now. But stay right here with me. The buried part is just getting started. Let me show you what whitetail nose biology actually proves today. A buck has nearly 297 million scent receptors. The average human being has only about 5 million scent receptors. That makes a whitetail roughly 60 times more sensitive than we are. They can detect a single human molecule across 3 football fields. According to Mississippi State University Deer Research Laboratories, wind drift remains the #1 variable in whitetail detection. A scent cloud can travel half a mile in cold early morning thermals. By midday, that same cloud climbs and rolls back toward the ridges. By dusk, cool air pulls the scent down into bottoms and creek beds. Most expensive electronic wind devices read only the surface wind. They miss every thermal shift that actually moves your scent body. Chalk powder reveals the real drift, not just the surface gust. It shows microcurrents around brush, fences, ridges, and creek beds. A study in the Journal of Wildlife Management reported that hunters lost over 70% of close encounters because of bad wind. Wind error costs more deer than every other hunting mistake combined. And $1 of chalk powder removes that error in 2 seconds flat. No batteries, no bottles, no subscriptions, just truth in the air. By the late 1960s, the gear industry started noticing. They saw a chance to monetize something nature already gave to us. The first electronic wind detector hit the market in 1980. It cost almost $40 and required 2 batteries to function. Then came bottle puffers, powder squeezers, and digital meter units. Each one promised more accuracy than a simple chalk pouch trick could. None of them truly did. Most performed far worse in real cold weather. Yet store shelves filled up fast with them, and the pouch disappeared. By the 1990s, almost no hunting magazine wrote about it. By the year 2000, an entire generation had never once seen it. The chalk pouch became a relic of grandfathers and old-timers only. Meanwhile, hunters across America keep losing deer to simple bad wind. They blame their stand placement. They blame their scent control soap. They never once blame the one tool they were never taught to carry. That ends right here today with $1 chalk and the buried truth. Stay with me. The next part is what they hoped you never figured out. So why does almost nobody talk about plain chalk powder anymore? Why did this simple $1 hunting trick quietly disappear? The answer is uncomfortable, but it makes perfect business sense. The outdoor industry makes billions selling scent control products. Sprays, soaps, laundry detergents, ozone machines, carbon clothing. Every one of those products treats the symptom, never the cause. The real cause of detection is always wind, not scent. Wind drift. No spray on earth beats a buck that is standing downwind of a hunter, and no soap ever invented will hide you from a shifting thermal pull. Chalk powder exposes that truth in one quiet second of honest air. That is exactly why the industry prefers you never learn this trick. You cannot patent common sense. You cannot lock away old fieldcraft. You cannot sell a subscription for something pulled from a school kit. The entire model depends on confusion, upgrades, and new packaging. Plain chalk powder represents everything that model quietly hates, so it had to be mocked, ignored, replaced, and eventually buried. Hunting magazines stopped writing about it by the 1980s. Gear companies bought ad space and stocked only electronic detectors. Hunting shows on television featured sprays and pump bottles only. Old trackers who still carried chalk pouches were called outdated. Meanwhile, the harvest numbers of those old trackers stayed strong. They kept filling tags while modern hunters kept buying more gear. I need to be honest with you. Chalk powder is not perfect every time. In hard rain it clumps. In heavy snow it sticks. Milkweed is better. But in every normal hunting condition, chalk reads wind without fail. If you made it this far, you already know more about wind drift than almost any modern deer hunter will ever know in their lifetime. Subscribe and share this with someone who still values real fieldcraft over expensive bottles, batteries, and noise sold by the industry. And remember, the full vault is in the description below this video. Now stay with me. The next part is exactly how you do this yourself. Here is exactly what to do before your next cold morning hunt. Take one piece of plain white chalkboard chalk from any school store. It will cost you around $1 at almost any retailer in America. Grate the chalk with a knife into a fine dust inside a small jar. A baby food jar or a small tin works perfectly for this quiet job. Poke 3 tiny holes in the lid with a needle or a thin awl tip. That is your $1 hunting wind detector. Done, ready to carry. Clip it to your belt, your pack strap, or drop it in a side pocket. When you arrive at your hunting area, stop moving completely first. Squeeze the jar softly one time. Watch the fine white powder drift. Track the direction the cloud travels for the first 6 full seconds. That is your real wind, including thermals, slope pulls, and shifts. Now test it again every 200 yards as you walk into the woods. Test it again at the base of every ridge and every creek bottom edge. Test it before you climb into the stand or enter your ground blind. Test it one final time when the deer are most likely to start moving. Every single test reveals exactly where your scent is going right now. If the cloud drifts toward bedding, you move to a different position. If the cloud drifts away from travel corridors, you stay put and wait. Compare that to a $30 electronic detector with batteries, or a $12 puffer bottle that only reads the surface gust, or a $40 ozone machine that still cannot beat a bad wind. $1 of chalk powder beats every single one of those tools. An old West Virginia tracker named Russell Teague proved it again. He harvested a 160 class buck at 15 yards. He used the exact same chalk pouch his grandfather carried in the war. No ozone, no spray, no carbon-lined clothing, just wind read right. The deer never knew he was there until the shot placement was made. That is the quiet power of $1 of chalk powder in your pocket. Not comfort, not convenience, just truth pulled straight from the air. And that truth is the reason the gear industry erased this method. This knowledge did not die in the old hunting camps of Appalachia. It waited. It sat in old leather pouches and in dusty tracking books. It waited for someone willing to bring it back into the daylight. If this video made a difference, Subscribe to Lost Hunter right now. Share it with every hunter who still values the old woodsman ways. Every single share preserves what the gear industry tried to bury. The link to the full Forbidden Hunters vault is in the description. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside will be even heavier. The next buried method will change how you read the entire woods. Old knowledge is not gone. It was only waiting for you to find it.